Hello, my name is Sally Kneeshaw and greetings from London. It's my pleasure to speak to you today as part of the 2020 Smart Cities and Sports Summit. I'm Programme Expert for URBACT, the European Exchange and Learning Programme for Cities, and I lead on the Gender Equal Cities initiative. Today I'm going to address the question, is gender equality in sport a new development in cities' policies on sport? I'll talk about ways in which cities can address gender-based inequality both generally, but also specifically in relation to exercise and sport for women and girls. Our work is in the European Union, but many of the principles and examples are transferable globally, and our report is available at urbact.eu. But first, why gender equality? First of all, inequality is persistent. Despite the leaps and bounds made over the past century, it's clear there's still a long way to go to achieve global gender equality. Inequality still impacts women and girls in the way that they travel, play, live and work in urban environments. You can see from the infographic, the gender pay gap is 16% in Europe. And according to the World Economic Forum, it will take 257 years to close that economic gap globally. There are also gaps in political representation, in senior levels, in boardrooms, and in entrepreneurship. Secondly, we have SDG 5. This summit is looking at the relevance of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal framework for sport and cities. For the first time, we have a specific goal in SDG 5 related to equality and empowerment for women and girls, and that gives us more impetus to deliver. Thirdly, cities can make a difference. Gender equality is everyone's responsibility and for everyone's benefit, and the international and national frameworks are really important. But cities are the level of government closest to citizens, and city design and services have direct consequences on everyday lives. There's a lot we can do at local level, and we need to step up to play that part. For those who are not familiar with URBACT, it's a European programme that supports exchange and learning between cities. It supports cities to work in integrated and participatory ways. By integration, we mean working across policy sectors, across departments, to find joined-up solutions to complex challenges. And by participation, we mean taking a multi-stakeholder approach, engaging with citizens and listening to their needs. So what can cities and local government do to promote gender equality, and how does that relate to sport, exercise and health? Here are some examples. Public space. Public spaces are where the public life of the city is played out, and a city that's attractive and accessible to everyone offers a better quality of life for citizens and visitors. Evidence shows that women and men exhibit different behaviours in public space based on gender norms. So urban planning, design and placemaking have gender perspectives. A city's physical structure can either reflect and amplify existing inequalities or conversely create more equal environments. For instance, we know that young women often disappear from public spaces because they may feel unwelcome or unsafe, and that affects their ability to socialise, to be active, to exercise. So taking gender and diversity into account when we plan urban environments, parks and playgrounds can improve accessibility, security and build active lifestyles that support healthy outcomes. Infrastructure such as better lighting, green areas and co-created social activity, including cultural and sports events that can take place in high streets, parks, city centres, can invite all community members to participate. In the Gender Equal Cities report, you'll find examples from Vienna, which has redesigned parks with a gender lens, and from Umeå in Sweden, who have engaged with young women to design both public spaces and sports activities that meet their needs. Another example comes from the city of Trappes in France, who've invested in playground redesign to deconstruct gender stereotypes and the inequalities that then manifest themselves often in later life. Researchers noticed that boys often take up the central space in a playground, usually a football pitch, while girls are relegated to the corners. And that can also mean that unsporty boys and overweight children who don't want to play football can feel left out. The redesign prioritises gender neutral colours, toys, and multiple worlds that with spaces for creativity, drama, as well as activity and games. A second factor is participation. Reaching out to women and girls is really important from all ages and communities, engaging with them to find out what exercise and sports that they really want. We shouldn't assume we know or what we are providing is right. An example in our report was a consultation to increase women's presence in public sports spaces and to highlight why women might feel uncomfortable and take action to make those spaces more inclusive. By undertaking a comprehensive review with both quantitative and qualitative activities, including interviews and focus groups, they exposed a disproportionate use of sport facilities by men, leading to poorer life quality and worse health outcomes amongst women. In one town in Romania, however, participatory interviews with women revealed easy and inexpensive measures to improve the situation. They included using images of regular women to advertise the facilities so that they can see themselves in that space, building equipment to meet all sport and fitness needs, like bikes and stepper machines and running dance fitness clubs. Having women-only times is important to help people build skills and feel comfortable, and also taking into account that women might have different health needs and may also need to bring children with them. There are lots of city initiatives that encourage girls and other underrepresented groups to exercise, such as girl-only skateboarding sessions and women-only swimming sessions. Thirdly, mobility infrastructure designed for active travel can make a difference to encourage more sustainable mobility that includes cycling and walking. Organising the city's mobility to prioritise these modes can make a real difference to keep pedestrians and cyclists safe. Good design can make it easy and safer for women and girls to incorporate that physical exercise into daily routines, like going to work, school, and leisure activities. And there are great examples of this from cities like Copenhagen. Another simple but important measure is public toilets. And this is really important also for older women. It can make the difference between them being confident to walk to the shops every day, keeping fitter, and maintaining their independence. With the pandemic this year, we've seen the gendered impacts in relation to the care burden and economic impact on women. We've also seen a renewed appreciation for green spaces, for the ability to be outside, to exercise, to connect, both for physical and mental health. And many community sports organisations will need support to survive in these times. In order to get all of this right, a central point is to use data-led approaches to deliver more equal services, such as the use of municipal facilities, budgets, and municipal space. So collecting sex disaggregated data is key. Observing and monitoring who's using the space and facilities. How can it be more equitable? How can we make sport in the city more inclusive? So coming back to the question, is gender equality in sport a new development in cities' policy on sport? The response has to be yes, and urban authorities can play a part. Our report gives 10 actions to kickstart the process. Gender equality in sport can be promoted at local level by participation, by reaching out to groups of women and girls to find out what their wants and needs are, and by designing specific interventions, especially reaching out to the women and girls who you may not be talking to already, who are from underrepresented groups. Also by integration, by talking to colleagues across departments such as education, health, care, mobility, urban planning, to identify more joint approaches that achieve the goals of both departments and create more enabling environments. Gender equal cities shows how when we create spaces for women's voices, women's needs and capacities, it's a necessary step towards building thriving cities and ultimately the right to the city for all. The report gives examples of many ways equality can be promoted across departments and policies. So please do take a look and join our LinkedIn group called Gender Equal Cities to continue this conversation. Thank you.